Welcome. In my view, there are few issues that matter more to freedom in America than the repeal of prohibition. Nothing in American history has been more divisive and destructive to our cherished freedoms than slavery and drug prohibition. Both slavery and drug prohibition have resulted in constitutional amendments. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were passed to end slavery, and the 18th and 21st Amendments were the result of the drug prohibition of alcohol. Before the 21st Amendment legalized liquor, the Narcotics Division was separated from the Alcohol Prohibition Bureau to preserve prohibition for drugs. Today it's called the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA. The Prohibition Bureau was renamed Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the ATF. Ironically, both organizations still interdict alcohol and drugs. Someone asked me, Chris, don't you have something better to do with your life than to legalize pot and drugs? I replied, I'm fighting for freedom. Don't you have something better to do with your life than to vote for people who want to create a complete police state? Of course, President Ronald Reagan's racist war on drugs and his mass incarceration surveillance police state has created the largest jail population the world has ever known. In his essay, The Caging of America, Adam Gopnik wrote, in truth, there are more black men in the grip of the criminal justice system, in prison, on probation, or on parole, than were in slavery then. Overall, there are now more people under correctional supervision in America, more than 6 million, than were in the Gulag archipelago under Stalin at its height. The despicable irony is that the great anti-communist Ronald Reagan has the ignominious honor of jailing more people than the ruthless dictator of the USSR, Joseph Stalin. In fact, America jails more people at the behest of the war on drugs than communist China, a nation with triple America's population. In 1982, the great communicator officially announced the war on drugs. Indeed, Reagan's use of colorblind dog whistle rhetoric on crime, welfare queens, taxes, and states' rights intentionally exploited the backlash against the civil rights movement for political and economic power. This Orwellian Big Brother is watching police state arrests, incarcerates, and discriminates against minorities with alarming disparities, making Reagan the great excommunicator. Prohibition subsidizes criminals, bankrolls gangsters, endangers our children, destroys public safety, corrupts public officials, undermines foreign governments, promotes terrorism at home and abroad, undermines the Bill of Rights, overburdens the courts, overcrowds the prisons, and is racist in origin and in practice. Prohibition fosters discrimination in the public mind by associating ethnic minorities with criminal behavior. If prohibition can't keep drugs out of prison, a complete police state, how can you expect to keep it off the streets? Prohibition has resulted in special weapons attack teams for no-knock service of drug warrants, stop and frisk tactics, sweeps of school students, anonymous informant search warrants, wiretapping, unidentified paid informants, pretext stops, and consent searches with drug-sniffing dogs, helicopter surveillance of homes without a warrant, and forfeiture of cash, homes, and other property based on unproven allegations of illegal drug activity. Is it any wonder that prohibition has made our cops trigger-happy? In 1875, legal theorist Lysander Spooner said, "Vices are those acts by which a man harms himself or his property. Crimes are those acts by which one man harms the person or property of another. Vices are not crimes. By criminalizing drugs, prohibitionists have created perverse incentives to commit crimes by creating a profit motive that monetizes crime." Let's repeal prohibition, the new Jim Crow. Prohibition has created a new racial caste system that is designed to deny jobs, housing, education, public benefits and licenses. It disenfranchises the right to vote or serve on a jury and makes people unable to provide for their children or families. Let's end routine employment drug testing, whose purpose is to identify, target, and ostracize competent, ordinary people for punishment. Basing employment on an oath of urination, which requires body cleansing to qualify, is destructive to trust, morality, and is nothing more than forced perjury. We need to regulate narcotics in a manner similar to liquor. Let's repeal the statewide prohibition, decriminalize narcotics, and allow a local option for the communities to choose how they want to regulate controlled substances. The regulated distribution of liquor has proven itself to be a time-tested policy that has ended gang distribution and violent marketing, a big cause of gun violence. Besides the enormous revenues generated for the state, the tax savings in law enforcement and prisons alone would be a great help to taxpayers, and the public safety on the streets would be a relief to our communities. Parents could let their kids play outside without fear that they'll be hit by a stray bullet or killed in the crossfire of a drive-by shooting. With malice towards none, with charity for all, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, achieve the dream of freedom for all, and end the uncivil war on drugs. Thank you.